Welcome to Richer Within with me, Kathryn. Activate your inner wealth of wisdom. What if the answers you seek are already inside you? On this podcast, I, along with Dr. Pat, explore what it means to truly rely on your inner guidance, moving beyond the noise of external influences to reconnect with your unique magnificence. Each episode offers compelling real-life stories and practical tools to help you shift from overwhelm to clarity. Discover how to activate your inner wealth of wisdom, your wow, and harness the universal creative process to shape a life even beyond your imagination. Ready to embrace liberating responsibility for your life, own your worth, and trust your inner guidance? Then you're in the right place at the right time. Let's dive in. Your transformation starts now.
Hey everybody, welcome. I am Dr. Pat and I get to take this beautiful journey with the most incredible person. You're going to hear so much more about Kathryn Richer as these shows go on. But the most important thing is I had a lesson this weekend, and I want to say this: the people in your life that show up at exactly the time. And you get to know them. And as you get to know them, you get to know yourself. Today, when you're thinking about this episode that Kathryn has put together, Befriend your cosmic wow body, now awaken to your Stardust ancestry and embody wisdom. You know, it's so interesting because my mom used to play a song called Stardust. Now I'm really like way dating myself back in the day. But there's a beautiful song, and it is called Stardust. I actually heard a rap group try to redo it. But when you think about these things, when you think about what it means to awaken your Stardust ancestry and embodied wisdom, something touches you. Today, Kathryn is going to walk us through what this journey is like, what it means. Why? Because this is her journey. This is her story. This is how we have a conversation that brings together what the weaving and the web, when they become one. This is her journey. Whether you know her as a fabulous musician or an artist or a creator or a phenomenal spiritual practitioner, whatever that is, she has shown up for a purpose. And today's episode taps right into the energy we need. Kathryn, it's so great to do this show with you. I really am excited about this because I don't think we understand, you know, when you say body, you want to pick up some pop culture magazine. But body, in a sense, is so much more. Thank you for taking on this episode. Thank you so much. But let's talk about the real body, the cosmic body, if you will. Go ahead.
Thank you. And I do love this so much. And it is the cosmic body that we arise from. And when you're talking about thinking about the stardust, I was camping a couple weeks ago with my girlfriends, and we took a blanket out to the edge of a beautiful lake on top of a mountain, and the moon rose and cast that beautiful moon path on the water. And we laid down flat on the ground, and we're looking at the stars and marveling at the Big Dipper. And the stars in that are like average 100 million light years away. And there's 6 trillion miles in 1 light year. Okay. And then we think of our own galaxy that's 100,000 light years across, and that we're one of billions of galaxies. And it's this awe at the grandeur of it all. And then one of the gals said, you know, I feel pretty small when I look at that. And I said, you know, I get that. And I also feel so big and so expansive because I look at the stars and I know that elements in my body came from those stars. All the way back to the very first stars that were formed in that little infinitesimally small thing that expanded into the entire universe, including other stars in this star ancestry that developed more and more of these chemical elements. And the biggest ones explode in supernovas, and they sputter their guts all over the universe, these chemicals that create new galaxies
Mm.
and planets and everything living, all forms of life, and me and you and everybody. That's how connected we are. And that's our cosmic body. I mean, the iron in our blood right now, the calcium in our bones, and the oxygen that we breathe were forged in the furnaces of great stars that lived and died long before the earth was born. So we literally are stars wrapped in skin.
Mm.
And this is the wow of our cosmic body now and the ancestry that brought us to these magnificent embodied
Mm.
peoples that we are.
I love that we're talking about this. I watched a couple of shows. I love the History Channel, I guess it is. I can't remember which one, but they are really looking at the science now and looking at the way we're now allowed to see out there and yet not see. And so what I love about this is, I was part of Bell Labs and I watched the evolution of radio wave technology with Penzias, but now it's gone to a whole new level. We are hungry to understand more. We have been fascinated by this for a really long time, but it seems now, let me ask you this. It seems now there is more of this thirst to really understand it and feel the energy of it. Now, you going out there and sitting under the stars, how wonderful is that? But there's something that happens chemically, isn't there, when we take this in?
There absolutely is. There's a practice that I did just this morning where it's taking in the sun, because we don't need to go out and see the stars. I love to, of course. All we need to do is look at our own star sun and open the mouth and see the energy coming in, like yawning it in. And also simply that pondering of all of the chemicals in my body. And that connection feels nurturing to know of this ancestry and that every living creature comes from this same ancestry. So the emotion that can arise, feeling that connection when there has been so much isolation over the last number of years, especially since COVID, and a feeling of disconnection, then it's an invitation to welcome our embodiment, again, our own embodiment, and that connection that we have chemically, atomically, with everyone and everything. And that chemical, that's a happy chemical.
Yeah.
You're way high up on the emotional frequency scale with that, and it's infectious, and that's a good infection.
I love it. I love that we're talking about this. When I was a kid, I grew up in the Bronx, and I don't know if people know this. When you grow up in New York City, there's so many lights that you don't get that perspective. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by lights is there's lights everywhere, right? I don't care if you live in the Bronx, the Queens, in Manhattan, it's light. So to see that beauty of the sky and the stars, unlike Jessica, who grew up in big country, right? And I remember, this is so timely to share this with you, and I would love for you to comment on this, because I would love for you to talk about what the embodiment of this was. But I was really struck by my first time that I actually saw the sky. Now, okay, I know that sounds strange, but it's not. I mean, the first time we went to Jersey, to my cousin's house, dark place, not a lot of lights, and I saw the sky. And as a young kid, I was fascinated by it. And my cousin Al would say, that's the Dipper, that's this. Oh, that's you, Pat. You're born in that month. The full moon happened this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had no idea Linda, my best friend, is so drawn to it. So I would love for you to really weave this in to how as embodied beings, how do we embody wisdom? Middle of the night, Linda knew there was going to be a moon. We all know that what this moon is in, her sign, my sign, but that's not the key. So she tells me she gets up in the middle of the night searching for the moon, and it comes up right here. That's the east, right? no shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
And Nat, I'll send you a picture. No shoes, compelled. She doesn't remember unlocking the door, walks out, goes down the street. She's got like pajamas on or something. You know what I'm saying? Just compelled. And stood there and gazed at it. And she took a picture of the moon. And she said to me, but I think I caught the street light. I said, no, Linda, that's a moonbeam. She literally caught a picture of the moon and a moonbeam. Now, I've known Linda a long time. What compelled her? Give me a sense from that story about this embodied wisdom and the intelligence, because you can't explain that logically. And clearly Linda's a triple Virgo, so if there was a way to do it, she would do it. But that energy, it's so beautiful, isn't it?
It is beautiful and it is powerful. And like you said, we can't explain it except to say that that's our embodied wisdom. That's our body knowing. That's our body being drawn and drawing us out there. I do the same thing every time there's a full moon. I take my car to my favorite viewpoint to watch it rise, and then I come home. And I love sleeping through the night. I black out my room with curtains, and I still get up in the middle of the night and I go out there and I bathe in it. There's something very deeply ingrained in us. If you think of the power of not understanding anything scientifically about the sky or the moon or anything 100,000 years ago, even 50,000 years ago, as human beings, and living under that and living in that light, we still have that embodied wisdom. Mm-hmm. And today we call it somatic intelligence, and somatic means of the body. And this embodied wisdom, this somatic intelligence is both built in, just like that tiny seed had everything it needed to become the entire universe. It is built into our bodies, and it contains our lived experience. So we both contain this cosmic ancestry and human ancestry, as well as everything that we have thought or felt or done or ate, of course, and experienced. It holds all of our joys. It holds our traumas. It holds everything throughout every single day of every moment of our lives. And they truly are our lifetime companion. And so they communicate through these sensations without the intellectual reasoning of why are so many people drawn by the light of the moon. It's like we have this gravitational pull. Well, we actually do literally pull the gravity between the moon and the tides and the oceans where we crawled out from, however many years ago that was. It is built in. It is lived experience. It is in those moments. And I love that Linda followed it, because that is the thing about somatic intelligence, is our bodies know before our minds do.
Yeah.
And so it's, oh, I am feeling drawn to do this. And you do it. It's not like, why am I doing this? It's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm out on my deck. It's knowing and following that and trusting that. And then so much beauty unfolds. And those moments, I don't know about Linda or for you, Dr. Pat, there is a tranquility in those moments, especially at 3 a.m. when nothing else is moving except maybe a few night birds or an owl and the moon. It's a moon bath.
It's a moon bath. How would you explain this to everyone about our bodies and how we communicate these sensations, right?
I would say that she was out of her head. So that's what she didn't notice. I actually walked over a bed of hot coals with a trained firewalker. And we received training before that, and it was all about the mind. And so the mind and the body are absolutely, absolutely interwoven and interconnected. And at the same time, Dr. Pat, from an evolutionary standpoint, our gut was the first brain to develop in the womb. So the gut...
I didn't know that.
really the first brain.
Wow.
This is the second one. Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa is right. So that's how the gut feeling and why it is our first. Yeah. We talked last time about there's a balance, and yet the gut is really the first. And that's, you're skating right past the intellectual reasoning. Like, I'm putting another log on the campfire. I get too close to the flame. I'm not sitting there thinking, gosh, that's feeling a little hot. Maybe I should pull my, oh no, it's like the body protects me that way, right? There's goosebumps, there's chills that are for various reasons and evolutionary. That's also very interesting. But anyway, we have headaches, our cheeks get red, our tummies get tight. Our bodies are telling us something. And the more that we pay attention to it and learn its signals, the more we are in alignment with our embodiment, with our inner wisdom, our embodied wisdom that is connected to everything. And then there's the infinite potential of possibility of everything. I heard this beautiful thing the other day where a person was talking about our bodies as vibrational reliquaries. You know, I've been in ancient cathedrals all over Europe, and some of them have the places that you can go into, the reliquary where they
Yeah.
hold their most precious gems, crosses, chalices, all of the ritual things that they used, and sometimes it's, you know, a person's finger when they take saints and did all that stuff. But anyway, those are their reliquaries. And I thought, what a beautiful concept to think of my body, our bodies, each other's as these sacred reliquaries that hold all that we are in all dimensions.
And one of the things I love about this is so important now. We've talked about this in the previous show, but this right here is really important because I'm not concerned about moving into, I don't know what age we're moving into, the digital age, the age of AI. I'm not as concerned about it because what I think sometimes is we tend to give our power away to something which actually doesn't have control over us. And, you know, there's so much that we could learn about ourselves and technology if we figure out how to weave that web. Earlier today, one of my totems is the spider woman. So part of the spider woman is a lesson that I'm still learning. I'm not there. Hello, no, comes back. Whenever I think I'm done, I see a big fat spider and it's like, oh no, you're not done. This is the idea of the weaver and the web are one. What that means is we are one with whatever is being put out there. Mm-hmm. But how does the body, because this is so important in understanding the tapestry of this, our body gives us signs and we are at a choice point. And I would love for you to talk about that. We're at this place where we get that feeling. And I would love for you to talk about it. We call it gut feeling, but it's such a place of knowing. And yet, sometimes we listen and sometimes we just wash the dishes and then end up knocking over the $500 vase. But that was in the Matrix. But can you talk about this body or the body? Because you see, I listened to Linda tell that story and I was just in awe of her. Right. And I saw the picture she took. And as she was telling it, she was drawn. But I want folks to know we all have that ability. How does the body communicate with us?
That's part of learning the language. And the key to knowing how it does is through awareness. It's this embodied awareness, practicing moment to moment. Like right now, I just noticed, oh, my legs are crossed. I might not be as relaxed as I thought I was. Readjust myself, right? And I think that we can start every day in the morning with awe that my body took care of me all night and did stuff I don't even know about. It took care of the food. It did all the cleanup that needs to be done. It refreshed the brain. It stored files. It had dreams. All I did was sleep. And I woke up alive. And so it's really, Dr. Pat, I like to think of it as building a nurturing relationship with our body. We appreciate the wisdom, we appreciate the guidance that it offers. And the more we do that, the more we allow it to show itself to us. It's like, and treating it kindly. I'm sorry to say, I have shamed my body for decades.
Oh
I
my
did.
God. That's a
And
whole show.
it's a whole show, whether
It
it's like,
is.
oh, I got this flab around my belly. Oh, then I'm too thin. And then I'm like, I finally realized this is never ending. And knowing what I do about emotional vibration and the impact on our body and the chemical reactions to emotions, I'm like, what have I done to myself? I would never, ever talk to my best friend like that.
No.
Why would I talk to my body like that? Right. And so that's the thing about befriending is speaking to ourselves in a way that is honoring and accepting even when it's difficult. It doesn't mean that we don't take care of ourselves. I'm not saying that at all, right? It doesn't mean we don't notice things and say, well, I think I better do a little bit about this. We go ahead and we do this. So we tune in. Am I breathing? What's my body's sensation right now? What's its message?
You know,
Listen.
this is such an important, I can't wait to see the workshops you're doing, the retreats you're doing. I mean, this is such a beautiful thing you're coming forward with. And, this is such an honor, joining us and doing this show. It really is an honor. And, I so love getting, I have to say, I will admit this, and then you could school me later on not taking care of my body. But when I do creative work, it's between 11 and 3 in the morning. So I'm working on your items between 11 and 3 this morning. Now, people would say, have you lost your mind? Well, no. There's a sense of quiet. There's a sense of something for me that the creativity gets condensed. No, wrong term. Gets accelerated so that in the busy of the day, what I'm able to create in a 2 or 3 or 4 hour window is by far unexplainable. And so I want to take a short break. And when we come back, I want to talk about how we can help people tap into this, because I have been told in the past 3 weeks by people how busy I am. And I don't see my life like that. You understand? So I don't really tell people. I can tell you, and now I've told everybody, that I kick in at 11 and I'm just cranking out between 11 and 3 and I'm doing creative things and I don't understand time. It has stopped. When we come back, and please don't take what I'm saying as a practice for you, because when we come back from break, Kathryn's going to walk us through what practices can help us. Doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. If you don't have a sky, if you're in the Bronx right now, hello, we'll give you something. But before we go to break, please let people know what your website is and how they can contact you, how they can work with you, and how they can enjoy the space that you create for the limitless nature of the universe and us. How do people work with you?
Easy peasy. Just contact me through richerwithin.com. I'm also on Instagram, mostly sharing things about beauty and the cosmos. Yes, please do find me. I love working with people more than anything. It's my passion, and I love the awakening nature of it. So please feel free to contact me through richerwithin.com.
Yeah. I didn't notice she was in the picture because she decided she wanted to show up and come in here. They thought, okay, you don't have enough of us around. So in this room right now, there are 4 of them. There's one outside of the room. And this is a creation that happened to me at a brief period of my life. It happened over a 9-month period. And it had to do with winning appetizer forks at a white elephant. So let's take a short break, because when we come back, I want you to get ready to just hone in. What is it about your life? Is there something that you want to do, create? Maybe you don't know it. Maybe you can't think it. Maybe you're Linda walking across 15 feet of gravel not feeling it, and taking a beautiful picture of a full moon, moonbeams and all. When we come back, Kathryn's going to walk you through things you can do now. Let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I want to just thank you for tuning us in, turning us on. You know, I want you to get familiar with the term richer within. You're going to hear a lot about it. But today, this particular episode is, what if you could befriend your cosmic wow? You know, that wow body now. And what if you could just awaken to that stardust ancestry? I love that. Stardust ancestry and embodied wisdom. Kathryn, we've talked a little bit about this, and part of what happens with me, I'm not going to talk for our audience, is I've listened, I've studied, but a lot of times I can't get off the dime. It's like I hear it, I take it in, but do I actually know what to do next? And I think this is the next part of this. This is where you come in. Before we start, again, how do people find out more about you? How can they work with you?
They can find me at richerwithin.com. You can learn a lot about me. I have a super extensive write-up about myself just because it's fun to write, and people seem to enjoy that. I know that it can be intimidating to work with someone that you don't know. So if that helps you feel more comfortable getting to know me that way, as well as through these chats that we have, I love these shares. My website is richerwithin.com, and you can contact me really easily through there. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah.
So we've talked about a number of things, and both of us had a story to tell. I actually had a story about Linda to tell this time. But how do we help people now when we approach this? Not just step into this energy, but understand it, understand this body, understand this more than just skin aspect of who we are. And then the next question is, how do you know what to do? And let's just put this out there for a minute. You don't have to be like me, going out on Vision Quest, or that's not it. You can do things like going to your cousin's house and taking a moment and looking at the stars. So help us walk through what people can do to really activate this within themselves.
I love that, because there's so many ways in any given moment, no matter where you are, because your body's with you everywhere you go. And so I think of Pierre de Chardin. He said, "We are stars wrapped in skin." So if it's kind of challenging to get your head around that, that's okay. It's that cosmic ancestry that's a lot of weaving, and yes, absolutely. Bathe under the stars and the moon and the skies, drink in the sun in the morning, all of those. And if that doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. You live in New York City. Dr. Pat, I went from growing up in Montana to spending half a year in New York City, and then I went home to the big sky country. So anytime, any day. And I'll give you an example. Before this show, I realized that my heart was beating faster than normal. And then rather than go here, well, why? I feel prepared. I'm all set. I'm passionate about this project. I simply placed my hand on my heart and felt it. And what arose for me was, I am here. That is enough. I am safe. There's a lot about touch. Self-touch. And that is if you're comfortable with it. And that is a great way to tap in to this heart space container. So any moment of a pause, really dropping in, what I mean by that is withdrawing the senses from the world as it is, and circumstances and people, and simply, I like to think of drawing a shade down a window and sitting in just a moment of silence and feeling in my body what is happening and breathing into that space. We all breathe. Thank goodness. We breathe, and that breath can calm whatever area is tight. It might be the belly. I know I hold a lot in my neck. So often I will breathe into areas of my neck. So if you have, or when you choose, because it is a choice. Yeah, I can be all wound up and be all wound up all day and not do a thing about it. Wow, am I wound up? And then I don't sleep. Or I can take a moment and check in with myself. Wow, not like here first, but as we said, the gut is the first brain. Like, what's going on here? Hey, how can I soothe you? I can rub my belly. So these simple practices of simply taking a moment to breathe. I can't tell you how many times I check in with myself to see if I'm breathing. And I'm not breathing. We're doing a lot of shallow breathing. And so the deeper the breath, the more we calm our automatic nervous system that is following our cues. It's that mind-body connection. So that's really the moment to moment, simplest way of acknowledging our embodiment and checking in. Of course, meditation is like a portal, if you will. It's like a gateway to awareness through conscious presence and allowing all of that mind, chitta, the chatter, to dispel so that we can become clear and present.
Mm.
And wow, then insights can and do pop in. I've created entire workshops sitting on my meditation cushion with a blank page in front of me.
Yeah.
It's tapping into that universal creative intelligence
Yeah.
that sets all of the planets in their courses. We are that intelligence, and we have access to that intelligence and that wisdom every second that we choose it. So there you go on that one. I mean, and meditation can also, I have had experiences of finding myself in tears, not
Yeah.
realizing they were there. And rather than figuring it out, I simply let them be. I
Mhm.
simply allow that, and it washes through. I know strong emotions can be scary because people feel like they're going to go down a dark black hole. Sometimes people do. I want to acknowledge that as well. And for many of us, they pass when we simply acknowledge them
Mhm.
and allow them to pass. You know, the body wants to be heard more than it wants to be understood. And so that's how it informs us and helps us move through. So there's the meditation, there's the sitting in the moment, there's a hand on the heart or the belly. There's also a lot of practices that focus on the mind and the body connection. There's Tai Chi, there's Qigong, there's yoga. I remember after a yoga session, there's the juiciest part where you just get to lie in Shavasana and melt into the ground like a pat of butter in the sun
Hmm.
and absorb everything, yeah? Let everything settle from the movement and the breath together. And I began to cry. And I cried for a long time because what I realized as I was breathing was so much sorrow I had because my grandfather-in-law was struggling to breathe. He was towards the end, and he was struggling to breathe. And so I was able to release that. So these mind-body practices can help that awareness and also allow those unexpected emotions to arise so that we can have them flow through us.
Hmm.
There's ways that we can reach out for help, different therapies, such as massage. There is touch, right? There is acupuncture. There is cranial sacral massage. There's all types of modalities of ways to feel into our bodies and have other professionals help us release the energies and have the energy flow more. I don't know if you're familiar with what's called holotropic breath work. Wow, that is some profound stuff that
It's
goes beyond
transformative.
the
Yeah.
intellectual understanding, and yet it is known to release trauma in a very deep way
Mhm.
because a lot of that is beyond words. I often, when I work with people that are struggling to describe what is happening in their life, with words, I invite them into their body to feel where is this residing in your body? Does it have a name? Is it a color? Is it a message? And anyone who, even people who've never done that before, wow, something clicks. And then we're able, because that's the body knowing, that's the somatic intelligence that's built in and that is very individual to us and is also connected to that universal creative power and intelligence.
You know, it's so interesting you're bringing this up. I mean, for lack of a better sense of myself, I'm going to blame it on the moon. I'm going to blame it on this full moon and how expansive it was. But I'm in the process of creating, along with my team, a whole launch and crowdfunding. And I'm sitting here about the game, and a light bulb went on, and guess whose face on my team I saw? Emily. Emily. And I thought, oh, Emily is a phenomenal artist and a game person. Why don't I sit with Emily and see if she wants to work on this project and negotiate what would be in it for her? Because a game that like we're about to create, I don't know why, but people love to buy these type things. And then an app. And out of the blue, Emily's face, and I saw her face just like, I don't know if you've ever met Emily, if you've ever seen her, right? This calm Emily, right? But when I saw her face, I saw gaming Emily, a beautiful creative artist who understands the nuances of how to move and motivate. And I thought to myself, you know something, Kathryn? I think we look at certain parts of our youth, young people, and we look at what they do, and we're so quick to judgment. But if you've ever entered the world of gaming, and for lack of a better word, it is a consciousness event. If you've never done it, it's like playing an instrument. And this idea of judgment, especially in our meditation, and you talked about it before, I would love for you to help folks today get to that place of peace. Because my meditations are really simple. I get in a place, I'm very clear, and I ask God, Spirit, what is mine to do today? Now, I'm not claiming I'm a great meditator, but I get information. Can you help folks today understand that we have the ability to open to a wisdom that could come to us before we can even get the thought from our mind to our mouth? Isn't that what we're talking about too?
It is what we're talking about. And when you speak about out of the blue, something happened between you and Emily, and it was this, it's exciting because we're going to talk about the aha in another episode coming up as part of our inner wisdom. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that out of the blue, I like to think of that, that's out of the cosmic blue. That's not like out of nowhere. That's out of everywhere. And so this concept that if you think of the quantum field of all possibilities everywhere, all of the time existing, that we have the ability to tap into, we are built to tap into that. If you think of where we are from where we were when we were cave dwellers, intelligence is built in just like that seed with each and every person. And so tapping into it is the simple, like you say, I've gone to plenty of conferences and I love them, and I've gone to retreats and I love them. Do whatever calls your heart to do. Number one, right? That is listening to your intuition. And we talked about that in the second episode about intuition. And the body wisdom it's intuitive as well. And so follow what, not your, gosh, I was talking with a friend yesterday, and she said, I've been listening to so much information and so many podcasts, I don't know what to do anymore. And so you may pull back a little bit from in formation and ask, does this serve my inner formation? Or is it simply incoming in formation? So it's about the inner formation and honoring ourselves and valuing ourselves enough to say, I'm not going to actually have that conversation right now, or I'm not going to have lunch with that person right now because I'm in a different space and I need that. It's about really listening to those messages and honoring them. And we do that obviously respectfully with other people when we bow out of activities or parties or whatever, because we need to be somewhere different.
Yeah.
We honor those, and our bodies will tell that in the moment. If I think about attending something, I'm like, well, is that really mine to do? And so I think your question is around tapping into and really understanding that we really do have that creative power. And I will say, if it wasn't meant for us to create, we wouldn't have that ability.
Right.
Right? Because we are embodiments of all of that. That's probably the hardest thing to get ourselves, our whole selves around, is that we really are embodiments of that, literally, chemically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. All of it is in this beautiful, sacred reliquary that we are. And we tune in to the radio frequency of the station you want to listen to, right? The station that you want to align with. There is the law of attraction. I like to think of it as the resonance, because where I am vibrating is going to resonate with whatever is in alignment with that. And that brings in more good than we had even imagined. I do encourage stillness, even for 2 minutes a day. Simply be. We're a doing culture, right? Doobie, 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 do. So how about we do be, do be, take more space and allow yourselves and befriend the space just like you befriend your physical temple. That is where a lot of that creative juice comes in, is when we allow it space. I know my inner being feels really crowded and stifled when I have too much going on. And I recognize that when I'm stuck, and especially for creatives, to allow the inner stuff to go, the exterior to go, and allow that expansive stillness, because that expansive is like the cosmos expanding. We are built to evolve.
Yeah.
We evolve along with the cosmos as embodiments. We are in a constant state of evolution, and it's a spiral, and it's innate, and it is a positive drive. It's a positive force. And that's why we're restless when there's really no boredom. There's just restlessness. Yeah.
You know, what I love about this is how we've made a door open really for everyone here, because see, a lot of times people are really struck by somebody's methodology of do it this way or don't do it this way. But you see, what you and I are talking about, especially how beautifully you told the story about this, is allowing people to be who they are and allowing them to be who they are, even if it's for 30 seconds or a minute. And that's where the judgment piece comes in. You have to really allow for yourself to be yourself and love yourself in that moment. But I want to ask you this question. We react to things. So what can we say to help people? Like you stub your toe, it ain't nobody's fault, and yet you're going after your 10-year-old. Why? They weren't even in the room. Hello. But you see, this is part of this journey that we're talking about now. This is part of the galaxy. This is part of what you're sharing. How might we help ourselves with our emotions these days?
Well, there is that place between a happening and a response. And the reaction is the immediate. the response is a breath or two or three, whatever it takes to recalibrate and align with what is in our highest and best interest and what the other person's highest and best interest, and simply allow that to flow with an ease and a grace that we give over. We open ourselves to that by breathing, and rather than reacting with the ego, because the ego is a reactor, the responder is more the observer. It's a much more gentle place to come from.
Mm. You know, I love growing up. My mom was a beautiful soul. She was so beautiful. This world came too tough for her. You know, she decided to leave. But my mom understood for me as a young child, because I was different, but I had this love for horses. I'm in the Bronx, and Van Cortlandt Park is in the Bronx. And somehow we went to Van Cortlandt Park. From that moment on, my dad had to pay people to put me on a horse because I was underage. I wasn't 9. But there was something about that connection that is still deep inside of me today. And people ask me what it is. And I'd like for you to talk to this. I personally don't need to know what it is. I just love that feeling. So how important is it for us to just love that feeling of what we love?
The feeling of loving what we love is the key to our happiness and our joy and our fulfillment and our abundance and everything else, because joy and bliss is at the top of the vibrational emotional scale. And that is our natural state of being, and it's our spiritual birthright.
Mm.
And we know that because we are in law with the resonance of the universe that is full of all of the beauty and all the joy.
Mm. What are the takeaways, so to speak?
The takeaways are opening. I really invite you to open yourselves to the awe of the truth of your cosmic ancestry, that when you look at our sun, that's an ancestor, and your body elements are within that sun and billions and heaven knows how many before that, and that your body is magnificent and unique, and to befriend it and be kind to it, listen to, follow, listen and follow the cues, take time to listen to its wisdom. And the more you do, the more you will hear it, and the more you will open to its messages and understand them. And really learning and trusting that infinite intelligence that is within you, and that is your power to create the life that you desire.
You know, many things we talked about here today, but I want us to understand we're going to leave people with something at the end of the show and right now. And it's a way for people to really look at what this power is of prayer. You and I understand, you know, I learned what a treatment was. Of course, I didn't understand a single thing about it. But I just know whenever that was going on, I felt so much better. But let's talk about how we can learn the language and how we want to bring this full circle to really close the show today.
How we learn the language of the
listening to our hearts and understanding that if you feel a gnawing feeling in your gut, don't walk down that alleyway.
It is paying attention. It is that paying attention to it. It truly is tuning into it and allowing it to inform decisions, allowing it to inform creativity, allowing it to release things that no longer serve. It is powerful. It is powerful. And it is with you 24/7 for your whole life.
It really is. How do people, again, find out more about you? And, you know, let's talk about what you can assist them with.
So you can find me at richerwithin.com. And I can assist in many ways. I work one-on-one with people in guidance sessions, and I also do various workshops. I facilitate sacred moments in people's lives. I do talks, whatever you want me to do. As long as it's in that realm, I'm happy to do. And one thing I want to say, Dr. Pat, is I know that prayer can be an activation word in a negative sense for a lot of people. And I get that. And so I want to frame that what I do at the end of each individual session, and at the end of this today as well, is some people call it prayer. And I want to stress that prayer to me, and I actually don't use that word a whole lot, but it is not about praying to some external old guy, man, God in the sky somewhere that's kind of like Santa Claus says yes to some and no to others. No, it's about affirmative consciousness statements to the universal presence, to the universal creative intelligence, and that unconditional loving presence that is everywhere and within. So that's why we're calling it the spiritual mind spa treatment. It's a spa for the soul.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Let's do it. Okay. And as we spoke about during this time together, the first way to tap into our embodied beingness is to simply still ourselves. And so we take a moment to feel wherever you are sitting, if your feet are on the earth or you're in a chair or wherever your body is touching a surface, to simply sink into that, knowing that you are held, you are beloved. As we close the outer eye, if it feels safe to do so, we release the world of appearances and things that pass, and enter the space of that expansive awareness that there is one power, not two or four or six opposing or millions or zillions. There's one power everywhere, all of the time. It is the power that explodes the supernovas into new galaxies. It is the presence that is the life force itself, that is infinite and indestructible. It is the vitalizing energy within all living beings. And it is the one intelligence that informs all, creates all, the perfect pattern of everything that there is, the Fibonacci code, the orbits of the stars and the galaxies and the clusters. Everything is in this one, where the center is everywhere and the circumference is nowhere. It is this one that loves to express itself in, through, and as every aspect of its creation, all that is seen and unseen, known and unknown, everything from the tiniest grains of sand to the furthest stars and the furthest galaxies, everything in between. Individualized, part of this grand picture, this grand cosmos, this cosmic web. Everything. And I know this means me, because I am one with that. I am not outside of it, and neither is anything or anybody else. And so this is true of everyone. Everyone is a unique, magnificent, radiant, whole, complete, necessary, and here on purpose, embodiment of that very same power and presence and wisdom from which we come from. Knowing this to be who we are and whose we are, we belong to the universe as its beloveds. I speak this word for and about everyone, and I call forth not only a recognition in the mind, but a recognition in the heart and in the body of how deeply we are connected through our human ancestry, through our cosmic ancestry, through everything that we have done in our lives. We are embodiments and stars wrapped in skin. And that awareness, the awe of that, generates an awakening to the sacredness of our own body temple, of how precious it is, how worthy it is of our love, our adoration, our befriending it as our lifetime companion with us from beginning to the end of this physical life. That it is a sacred reliquary holding all that we have been and done, and the infinite possibilities that are to come are also woven into this intelligence that we are. And so as we embrace and befriend our physical temple, our mental temple, our emotional bodies, our entire beingness, knowing of its deep interconnection, that we open ourselves to more good than we had imagined, more joy, more beauty, more harmony, more peace, more realization and the manifestation of our heart's desires, because those desires were planted from the desire of the fiery furnace of the divine. I am so grateful to know that this is the truth, that we are cosmically connected, we are infinitely powerful and created, and happiness and joy are our spiritual birthright. And in that gratitude, absolute conviction, and with directed faith, I simply release this vibrational word into the cosmic womb of infinite potential and possibility, the quantum field, that place of unconditional love that always says yes, my precious, and you are my precious. It is my desire to give that unto you, which is yours. I simply let this be. We allow it to be, and we welcome it to be with joy by saying a big yes. And so it is.
And so it is. Kathryn Richer, everyone. I'm Dr. Pat. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for investing in yourself by listening to Richer Within with me, Kathryn, and Dr. Pat. Continue this journey with us every third Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. Feeling inspired? Visit richerwithin.com to explore one-on-one sessions, speaking engagements, and supportive services with me. Together, let's co-create a world that uplifts everyone through deeper living and conscious presence. Until next time, and always, align with your inner wealth of wisdom. Wow.